Dear heads on the wall, dear heads on the wall, always watching you. Hey! Dear heads on the wall, dear heads on the wall, always watching you. Dear hunter shot Bambi, Bambi took the fall, dear heads on the wall, always watching you. Yeah. You're not paranoid if they're out to get you. You're not paranoid if they're out to get you.
Happy Saturday. Today is March the 28th and we are in the increasingly non-snowy area that we were in last week. I am out here today looking around. I don't have any particular agenda. It is the first week in a while where I didn't have to get up and do work-related chores before I left, so that's a good thing. So in that regard, we're going to kind of play it by ear, see what happens, see what comes up, and we'll go from there and have some commentary along the way as it occurs to me. So that being said, let's get moving and we'll see what we find. Thanks. I didn't expect, when I first got out of the car, honestly, I didn't expect it was going to be as cold as it apparently is right now. Then the wind kicked in. It's pushing 30, and at 30 degrees. The weather if it's still and you don't have a lot of wind, it's not that bad. But when you get a decent wind going, right now I think we probably have good 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. This area is not strangers to wind. You can see from all the shit on the ground, and Bigfoot didn't do that. That's wind and deadfall, so get over it. But the point being, it's a wee bit cold this morning. This is going to be not intended to be political, so bear with me and hear me out. Some of my intended travel plans were going to be potentially put on hold due to a rather inconvenient war and the fact that the other side decided to shoot back at a lot of oil producing things, driving gas prices up to the fucking roof. Knock on wood, and to keep myself honest, notice wood, we have noticed, at least in my own neighborhood, that it has, at least for the last few days, not only leveled off, gone down a dime. So perhaps both sides of this little conflict, that I don't see where anyone really wanted it, but without going too deep into that and having every Russian sponsored Trumper bot on Facebook get on my case about this, maybe both sides can agree to not blow up each other's oil producing infrastructure, and we can keep gas prices from consuming everybody in the world, and we can just like have some modicum of decency about it. I understand the politics, and that's kind of a sore point. I was actually, when I woke up today, I had a Facebook notification in, of all things, a Linux Facebook group, Techie Talk. And just to not get political, but just to whine about other people's needs, you couldn't make a comment about something that is a Linux issue as much as it's potentially political without bringing some left-wing bullshit politics into it, as opposed to right-wing bullshit politics. And what I said specifically is in regard to the age verification on operating systems, a brainchild of the vapid freaking simpleton known as Gavin Newsom, who I despise, and mainly because he's a pretty little Democrat with perfect teeth and perfect hair and absolutely nothing between. He has nothing between the ears. And he thought that was a good thing. And what they're trying to do is hook you into age verification for those that don't understand. I guess we're going to explain the issue because for those of you that don't pay attention to this kind of thing. And perhaps you should, because it's going to affect your iPhone and half a dozen other things. If you are an Apple user, you are required to have an apple.com address. If you are a Microsoft user, you are either having an outlook.com or an M365 account of some kind that's tied to your phone and or computer. Especially if you're using Windows 11 and all its delightful ability to spy on you, if you weren't aware of that. I mean, if you don't care and you want to play patty cake with fucking data brokers, knock yourself out. That's your own thing. God forbid you learn what a fucking VPN is if you don't know. And you know, and if you're a freaking Samsung or a Android user, you're probably tied to a Google Gmail account. The problem with a straight up Linux install is Linux does not have any freaking standard centralized base of control. That's the entire strength of the fucking platform, and that's the entire reason why Microsoft could not kill it in the 90s during the OS wars when they were actually more relevant. In fact, I dare say, on a completely technical note, Linux very graciously, very nicely won the war simply by becoming literally everything that fucking Windows was not. Financial servers, web servers, cloud servers run Linux. ESX hosts and Proxmox and anything that's not Hyper-V in the virtualization space is some varied mutant version of Linux. Routers and switches and things they're not always Linux, but they can be Linux. Your smartphone is either Android, which is a mutant fork of Linux, or it's iOS, which is a freaking thing with pieces and bits of BSD, and the Mach kernel, which is a Unix, not a Linux, but still it ain't Windows. Windows is desktop, laptop, server. But server in a fishbowl, either running Hyper-V, which is granted, or more likely, in a larger environment, you are running ESX, which is Linux. So for the silly goobers out there that still want to say, Windows versus Linux, we already won. You're harping about a whole lot of nothing. People have platforms on Windows. That is a given. But all the gooey squidgy bits that run in between that people don't pay attention to is all Linux or some Unix fork or something similar. Now that being said, name me a shop that runs Apple servers. Doesn't happen. And Solaris is dead for a similar reason. However, back to the age verification thing. Linux, as it is not is completely decentralized, has a bazillion different fucking distributions. It doesn't have any equivalent to an Office 365 account. It has a local account. So effectively what Gavin and his idiocy is trying to propose is that they rewrite the entire operating system to protect the kids. And let me say it again. Anytime any pandering piece of shit politician, parasite, piece of crap, Democrat or Republican, says anything about protecting the kids, it is about surveillance. Politicians don't give two shits about the kids. And yes, politicians pander and lie because that is the very nature of what they are. Again, party notwithstanding. And to everybody out there that's about to try to indoctrinate me into their side, right or left, fuck you, shut up. Not the point. And I basically said that exact point. You want to save the kids? You're talking mass surveillance because you want to track everybody's fucking moves. It's bad enough my neighborhood has flock cameras in it already. Which I hope for your sake you have locked down the web front end to that because you know fucking damn well it's hackable if somebody knows how. Be a shame if they turned off. It's to save the kids. No, it's not. It's for fucking ticket revenue, and you're dumb if you don't think so. Because if you cared enough about the kids, you'd actually have a real flesh and blood, living, breathing cop sitting there pulling people over to get the ticket revenue. Flock cameras have been pulled for more than one camera. I know I'm ranting at this point, but have been pulled from more than one town because they have misfires and people have gotten tickets over false allegations they weren't guilty of because the software doesn't fucking work the same way people have spent 6 months in jail over freaking facial recognition brain farts and they got the wrong person. Which is a combination of faulty technology as well as lazy, incompetent policing by people that don't even... Yeah, you have a badge, suddenly you don't have to work anymore, apparently. Well, the computer said, well, the computer makes mistakes, bitch. So, do your job, and if you do have a badge and you don't like what I'm saying, go fuck yourself, because that's what the First Amendment is. I don't hate all cops, but a lot of you are lazy fucks, so shut up. I'm right, you're wrong, and you get to suck it. Anyway, moving on. As you just got some insight into what a political debate with Mike is. I'm right, you're wrong, suck it. That's the end of the debate. And we're not going to go further down that rabbit hole. So, but that is why age verification is a freaking bad thing. And the unfortunate thing is most of your Linux users are fairly technically savvy, and there's 1,000 ways to get around doing this. None of which, to my knowledge, are relatively illegal. You just go and download it from another state. You fucking get a VPN. And of course, you know what happens then. Then you have fucking Gavin Newsom. Well, we have to ban VPN. Yeah, but here's the problem. If you work from home and you do anything and you're working from home, how are you logging into work? You're using a fucking VPN, but now they're illegal? You've destroyed the fucking entire computing world? Maybe politicians ought to learn how fucking shit works before they fucking start having ideas about how to govern them. Especially a piece of shit communist with fucking perfect teeth named Gavin Newsom. May he fucking eat a bowl of fucking cat food upchuck and freaking choke on his own blood. I hate that motherfucker. Not that I have a strong opinion, but then again. Anyway, I'm going to say one, since I am in the political realm, I'm going to say one thing, as today is No King's Day, apparently. Driving all the way up from my house to where I am now, an hour and 10-minute ride, the only person I saw doing any remote protesting was one person in the center of town wearing a comical freaking little cartoon dog costume, which was adorable, but I don't know if that was for a business, honestly, or if it was for No King's Day. I'm guessing No King's Day. But they had a little sign that I drove by fast enough, I couldn't read it, so it is what it is. Somebody had hung a sign over overpass, but then if you guys are out there protesting, you're being lazy today, and yes, I know it's cold and all, but I mean, you shouldn't care if you really truly care about your cause. But regardless, just as an observation, they put the sign there and then nobody was there, which was kind of lazy. I'm just saying, if you're gonna fucking carry through with something like that, freaking own your shit, I guess. And again, I am not a Trumper. I am not a fucking lefty wokenoid. I am a fucking goddamn militant independent who fucking thinks both sides suck and need to have their heads beaten together until they have the human equivalent of paste. But that is me. I'm a curmudgeonly independent who thinks both sides suck and need beatings. But that's, again, me. End political rant. Let's move on to Bigfoot shit. Now, today's a lovely, quiet day. We're making our way through towards where I will hop the stream. Last week, I decided to stay on this side and go into an area I haven't been in since the snow was on the ground. This week, I don't know what I'm going to do. I literally really had my mind in other places, and I didn't really get down to the woods thinking until I got out here. So I guess we're going to make a snap decision as we get close to there. We can actually go there. We're walking towards what I call the third bog in the tri-bog area, and we'll see where we end up. As for my original point before I went off on a political tear about operating systems and stupid frickin' rich poodle Democrat scumbags, I gotta get that out of my system. I really do. Jesus Christ. I was going to hold off on some travel plans, mainly just to see what the long-term gas price outlook was going to be if we're going to get fucking fleeced through the summer by this charming war. And yes, I know we were never going to have Christmas card exchanges with freaking Iran, but they were not an open freaking threat to the U.S. They were more an open threat to Israel. It's an Israeli problem, and I'm going to leave that where it is. I ranted about them last week. I don't need to repeat myself. Needless to say, not a country I have any intentions to visit because I am not a person with any shared culture, despite their arguments to the contrary. Nobody in my family is Jewish, so sorry, that is not the case. Not that I have an ounce of anti-Semitism. They're a lovely people, but I don't have them in my family. It is what it is. I come from a German, Northern European, non-Jewish tradition, and that's just who my family is. And again, I'm right, you're wrong. Suck it. Moving on. This is what happens when you get old enough in age that you get past the point of two fucks given, and Anyway. But some people enjoy that kind of thinking, where you will never not know where I stand. You may want to argue against it, and I'm going to tell you again, I'm right, you're wrong, and you can shut the fuck up now, because your opinion makes you a mewling baby that I don't freaking give any respect to, because you're a little bitch. I woke up on the wrong side of bed or something. Anyway, travel plans. I observed over the week that, at least for the moment, it seems like local gas prices have kind of hit a stable point for a while, so maybe I can gauge that and make some plans. And if that is in fact the case, as I get back to my original point, this is why I don't do politics in the thing on average, because one, it angries up the blood, and two, you tend to go off on rants for and then 15 minutes later, and you catch yourself. Couple of places I might check out. I was also wondering when I was going to make the first run back up to Vermont, and I got a discouraging report. I don't know how far up Vermont this was, but they said they got 6 new inches of snow, and the White Devil is alive and well up there. So I'm going to probably start doing a daily vigil of the traffic highway cameras there, because that gives you a local gauge of what the situation is up there. I think I'm just going to go hop over there and just head up straight that way in a direction that I haven't been in a little bit, and see if there's any signs of life in there. But a couple of spots that have been brought to my attention, 2 or 3 are in New Hampshire. One is local, but in the opposite direction of where I am now, and we'll see what's going on there and keep my eyes open and ears open for any other goings on. As I look over there in the light play, made it look like there was something walking across right by that tree over there for a moment. An example of your eyes playing tricks on you. So I'm going to probably take a segment break just to get the politics out of my system, because as much as I am ragging on one particular Democrat, that does not make me a Republican. Please don't think that. Again, the word is independent. And I'm just going to get all the politics out of my mind by saying the one thing I hate most about political discussion, aside from the fact that discourse in its current form is to radicalize tribes of school children yelling name-calling bits across the schoolyard while the rest of us have to listen to it, which is a true description of where I stand on this kind of thing, is the fact that your true diehard maggot or wokenoid, let's call them what they are, refuses to believe in this pesky Sasquatch-like cryptid called the Independent, who doesn't freaking align with either one of them. If you don't agree in the slightest way with a person of either of these belief sets, you're immediately the other side and scum. The left in particular. You don't agree with one thing I say, you're Hitler. Go fuck yourself. I used to have a little bit more empathy for old school liberals when they had a couple of well-meaning but just comical ideas, not based in reality, based more in emotion, but they at least valued the value of freedom of speech. Back then, an old school liberal in the Alan Alda era would probably tell you, you know what, I despise the fact that you think thoughts like a Nazi, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it because that's the First Amendment. That's an old school liberal. The new school friggin' woke shitheads are basically ready to cancel anyone who remotely threatens or freaking wants to hurt their feelings. They have no goddamn emotional integrity, and they frankly are fragile little snowflakes. And that literally is what they are. Making them pretty fucking useless. And then they bring that shit into the workplace and expect people to pander to them. To every person like that in the world, go fuck yourselves, just die. Remove yourselves from the gene pool, please. And the rest of us can get on without you, because we won't miss you, honestly. Anyway, that's the end of the political rant. I'm going to hop the stream. I'm going to head up the hill, and we'll be back in a bit. And before I go, fuck you, Gavin Newsom, one more time. Through the forum, we are across the stream and walking directly kind of up the hill. We are at one of a couple of delineating stone wall, of old New Englandy stone walls that kind of make for some markers and navigational aids, depending on how you choose to look at it. And as soon as I navigate through this little maze of things, we'll get into some smoother ground. This is a lot shittier than I. Where's the path of least shittiness? Which means I should have gotten over this before I started yapping into the camera. Bear with me as I kind of navigate this without getting my foot into an unexpected hole or some such. Probably won't happen, but when you say it definitely won't, that's exactly what it does. Having a rich appreciation for Murphy's Law and all. But anyway, I guess the biggest Bigfoot controversy right now is, I don't know the guy's name. I'm admittedly too lazy to go and look it up. But there's a documentary coming out that's making a case for the Patterson-Gimlin film being a hoax. And my stance on that remains unchanged. The PGF, aka the Patterson-Gimlin film, is doomed to remain inconclusive because neither side has ever presented a version of the story that I've heard that is conclusively convincing one way or the other. Secondly, the only people who know for sure are the ones who were there. And for those who still survive to the present day, they're not getting any younger. And without this being intended as any kind of an insult towards them, human frailty and aging are what they are. And memory is the first thing to be affected, or one of the first things to be affected by that. Now granted, the last time I heard Bob Gimlin being interviewed, he seemed perfectly clear as a bell. And this is not any disrespect for Bob. Bob is beloved in the community, and it's because he is a walking piece of history related to the subject. However, for all the claims and counterclaims made, he is one of the few people who knows for sure. But with his memory being what it is, and I mean, my dad died at 90, clear as a bell, but the one thing he struggled with, unfortunately, was memory. Not cripplingly so, but enough so that he would yell at you if you tried to coach him because he's trying to remember on his own, matter of pride and all that, which is understandable. But to make the point, memory is a human frailty. And in that regard, right, you know, and unlike some, I'm sorry, my take on the Patterson-Gimlin film is, it is not the cornerstone of my basis in belief in the subject, for or against. The sum total of my own experiences are what, and they should be yours too. Because even if it were true, let's play what if in the worst case scenario. Even if it is proven beyond a doubt to be a hoax, there's a gazillion other encounters and reports and Native American species and things that had a legend around something. I myself, on 3 different occasions, have seen something. Now what it is, I don't know. What I do know is it was not a man, it was not a bear. That leaves a large question mark. So, like it or not, that doesn't affect my beliefs. There was a guy 10 years ago who was going to do a documentary debunking the BGF with a bogus idea that this was going to destroy all of Bigfootery. And that's why I articulated my thoughts on that matter then. Killing one storyline on a subject that's broader than that does nothing to make it go away from me. So all you are is another Skoftic playing skeptic who wants to freaking stamp it, put it to bed, pat yourself on your egotistical back. So welcome to my phone. The card on my hold on. The card on my, I gotta do this righty. On my other camera promptly told me that I forgot to clean it out, so I'm paying for that. So we're doing the phone. So if you wonder why suddenly everything looks different, it's because that happened. And the rest of the video, for all intent and purpose, will be done on the phone, such as the phone is. And we'll do the best we can. The other thing is easier to hold, so if it's a little bit more bumpy, I apologize for that. But having had no agenda means I didn't think about this, didn't plan ahead, and now I'm paying for it. It is what it is. So to recap where we were, I was talking about the upcoming controversial documentary about the PGF being promised, God damn it, being promised to be a hoax and such, whereas, sorry, I'm stuck doing this right here, else my fingers get in front of the fucking camera. Being a hoax, but that doesn't really do anything to faze me because that has never been the cornerstone of my belief. It's not the holy grail to me. I've seen and experienced shit of my own that leave uncertainty as to the existence of this creature. And I know that drives certain skeptics nuts, but fuck you, because you call yourself skeptics, and in regard to that, you are in fact Skoftics. And you know you are, so. Wah. God damn it, I want to switch to the other hand, and I can't, because it covers the phone. That doesn't help anything, so we're not going to do that. I'll just have to make this a little bit more infrequent, because I got to see how much battery I have on the phone, too, for similar reasons to what I was. We're heading over kind of sort of towards a large wetland on the far end of this stretch of forest. Mainly because it's a good vantage point for Big E to come in and like spy on people that might be there fishing. Although I don't know how the fishing is. I've never been. I've tried fishing at the first bog and had a wonderful day bothering the bullfrogs with little effect on getting trout or anything, but I haven't actually tried fishing this stretch of water. I don't know how, and I haven't seen other people trying either, so I don't know how productive a spot it actually is or not. I'm going to cover some ground and do my best not to keep my fingers in the camera's way here, but this is going to probably be shorter versions just to see what the matter of battery on the phone is. We'll be back in a bit. Okay, we've arrived at the, I guess you just call it the gateway to the, when I get through all this underbrush, of the, I don't know if you can see it through there. Let me, I don't know if that reflects very well. The wetland that's on the other side of this laurel patch I'm trying to go through without obscuring too much. But there you go. And you come out on a hill over here and you're actually on the other side of a trail system that would take you off in that direction. And maybe even hook up with an area that would go back, but I mean, because I know the way straight back through that, we're going to go that way. It's frankly a more the hike that way is more fun anyway, so we just wanted to do kind of like an overland through this stuff today, and it is all quiet. I don't think any migrational period or pattern has repeated itself this way. This is trying to understand the angle of this. It looks deceptive. There's more water over in that direction, but it doesn't look like a wetland, but it actually is, believe it or not. And kind of just showing you a glimpse of the terrain. We'll walk over to the hill. I'm not going to walk down just because I don't want to have to walk back up. I suddenly realized the area I thought I was adjacent to is way the fuck over there. Over there. Allowing for the magnification level of the phone. Maybe that's better. Over there. So you're actually probably closer to the adjoining area that takes you to the trailhead over there. But we're not going to do that because then I have to walk all the way around a freaking probably 3-mile stretch back to the car, and I got shit to do today, so we're not doing that. We're going to start making our way back, and as I walk through this lovely little maze of things, it's not really a mess, you just go back that way. But take some photos along the way of the charming scenery, and we will kind of do some on-the-spot reporting if anything happens. So, God forbid a bear gets it. So it might be a little cold for them to wake up today, but you never know. I've seen bear sign in here. I don't think I've ever run into a bear actually in here. On the other side over there in that area, that's another story. I've run into several. But for some reason, they don't seem to be over here as much. Can't really think of a reason why either, because it's decent habitat. You don't have a lot of... I'm one of a few people that walk through like the open woods of this. The odd hunter during hunting season, but off season. Is that a hole in the trees or something reflective? Hole in the trees. Anyway, we're going to go back that way, and we'll be back in a bit. Okay, as much as somebody might want to believe that I put that there myself, I found this randomly right now, and it ain't deadfall, so it's interesting. I mean, you could have had somebody out here just making stick art or something, but it is interesting. This is a legitimate stick structure of some kind. I don't attribute anything to its origins specifically, but every now and then in this area, you will find something weird like this, because that is not something that fell randomly. It's like that and hung like that and broken in half. So when I say that I don't totally call BS on all stick structures, here's something weird enough that you kind of have to scratch your head at it. I'm going to leave it where it is, and I'm going to try my best to keep my goddamn finger out of the fucking camera, which is harder to do than not. Again, unexpected change in cameras, so sloppy technique. Sorry, but you'll get over it. And we're heading that way towards that opening, which is basically the way home. Or adjacent to the third. You just can't keep your fucking hand out of that damn picture. The third bog, which means it's actually more that way, but going that way will get you there. But I just thought you should see that as we examine from all angles, as I do preach to do. I am actually hard pressed to explain how that randomly happened like that, if it did. But there you go. Interpret as you see fit as we walk through this stuff. We're about halfway back through this stuff, and then once I get over there, I'll see how far to the right I have to deviate back to where I jumped the stream. But we're good, because if we walk that way, I mean, worst case scenario, we go there, we walk around, follow that out to the trailhead, and walk 3 miles back to my car. But again, not the plan, as I have shit to do. So we're gonna go through that and cover ground and find our way back to the stream and make our way back. As of right now, that is the plan. We're going to cut through over there, go that way, and see where we are. We'll be back in a bit.